Hello, everybody. This is Joe Schaefer, Marketing Director at Digital Marketing Training Group. Recently, we've had some attendees in class in the past few months ask if we could have a grad come in or call in and answer some questions about their successes. And what I've done today here is I just got off the phone with one of our past grads, Steve, and he is one of those grads that soon after getting out of class, he hit the ground running, and ever since, he has been bringing in proposal after proposal, closing proposals. We've got multiple campaigns running for Steve. He's doing fantastic. And I thought this would be a good opportunity for me to, with his permission, of course, record the call and ask specific questions that I've gotten from some of our attendees while they're in class. Of course, I've reshaped them a little bit, so they're a little bit more natural. I suppose they're more based on the topics that need answers from our grads. So I've shaped them that way so they sound natural when I ask the question. But again, the answers that we're seeking here are those types of answers that grads are looking for to kind of connect with and understand what other grads are doing in order to find more success after coming through the training program. So here's Steve and myself. I had Kristen in the room, who is his support lead, and we asked him about 7 questions, and these are his answers verbatim. Hey, Steve. Can you share a couple of your successful client acquisition strategies? And if you could you start with maybe your most successful to date, whether it's, I don't know, prospecting or networking? Is it the leads that we send you? Or maybe you can fill in the blanks here.
Yeah, I'd say it's really a combination of them all. I think there's a right time for each and every different client acquisition strategy, but whether it's kind of starting out with just the traditional prospecting and cold calling and emailing and reaching out to folks and trying to connect with them, I'd say that the digital marketing leads, the product of what we do for other people, are definitely very good. And I don't think someone should expect to convert them without effort. And each and every lead that you get takes multiple attempts and contacts and a system for keeping track of those leads and moving them through the funnel to, eventually qualify them, at least what I call it as a marketing lead, somebody who's interested in learning more about the services that I offer, and then eventually, qualifying them as a sales lead where they're actually really considering making a purchase, and then that will eventually kind of turn into a sales meeting that will hopefully close. But I'd say between the marketing leads as well as networking, those are really the two main sources. Traditional prospecting and cold calling is definitely, you need to do it, but it doesn't generate as much qualified leads as the digital marketing leads or networking. And networking is I'd say a more direct avenue because you're having a live conversation with people that you know or that you meet, whether it's through a chamber of commerce or some networking group in your local town and area. And the networking is, again, a lot of time and investment, and it's not something that just kind of flops and pops in front of you. You really got to kind of invest in your networks and give yourself with hopes to eventually get back. So the last thing I'd say is customer referrals, and the reason why I say it again is that I'm just not there yet in terms of a critical mass of customers that are going to generate them, and the length of time that I've been an agency. I want to make sure that the customers are happy and that they're satisfied before asking them for recommendations with respect to who else I could help them that they know. So those are the kind of the 4 key things, but the digital marketing leads that we generate, and the networking are really the top two.
How about sharing a couple of sales strategies? And if you could, kind of start out with your most successful one. But we're really looking for some ideas and some strategies behind how you perform sales as they pertain to those that have led to any campaigns that you've won. In other words, a closed proposal.
To me, it really begins with the way that you think about sales. And at least the way I think about it is I don't drive sales. I think of it as business development. Sales is something that you do to somebody, and business development, I think, is more consultative, making the client feel like they're part of the process. Developing the solution together and then getting agreement to move forward, I think, are all critical parts of it. The second that it feels like sales, you're losing. I'd say so listening. I've always heard you have 2 ears and one mouth, so listen twice before you speak, and knowing what your customer needs and challenges are, and kind of building your proposal that fits that needs. And then the last thing that I try to do is kind of choice structuring. So giving the client a choice, and if you give them one option, the second option is to not do it. So they're always going to have choices. And so if I present them with two and in the best case scenario, 3 choices, I can get them to pick one of those options instead of choosing their own option, which is not to move forward.
Hey, Steve, what have you found to be the biggest hurdle with your business so far? And if you could describe for us how you've overcome that hurdle, or is that still in process?
I think it's still a work in progress or process. I think that eventually the biggest challenge will be scaling. I think prospecting and kind of filling your pipeline is always going to be a challenge, whether you're new or you've been in business a long time. That just doesn't stop. But I think eventually it's going to be scaling it. At some point, I feel like my base is going to get too large for me to kind of juggle the service appropriately, and knowing when the right time is to bring in someone to help me with my customers while continuing to do the business development. So I guess it's really the duality between the business development and serving the customers, and making sure that I've got that right balance all the time.
Okay, you think you can describe for us how effective, or maybe just how helpful the support team has been, especially Kristen, if you don't mind, in helping you with your successes since you came out of class?
I think the support team is really a critical. I view it as a critical part of my business. The consultants, and for me specifically, it's been Kristen, have been really terrific, especially early on for me. But even today, as I'm bringing in more complex offerings, I use them in a couple different ways. One, obviously helping me with building the proposals, but I use Kristen as a sounding board, or even practice. I may call to ask about what my sales strategy is, and kind of share that, almost like practicing what I'm going to say to the client before I'm actually in front of the client. And it gives me a chance to make sure that I know what I'm talking about before going in, and it gives support a chance to correct me if I'm positioning something incorrectly, or even identify something maybe that neither of us thought of at the very beginning. And so kind of having that team there to kind of strategize together, it's not just a proposal building team, it's a team that's really going to help you kind of think through what options you should be considering and positioning. I really kind of value the opinion of the team.
All right. How about you describe with, I guess, 1 or 2 characteristics, or if you'd like to share any experiences you've had working with the marketing team themselves as that pertains to the deliverables for your clients?
Sure. I would say, for the most part, the main thing that I'm looking for and what I hope to get from the marketing team in general is it's all about being responsive, and that's what the team is. And I don't have any specific examples of when they have been, mainly because I think they've been responsive for all of my clients thus far. And whether it's a last minute change to a website that the client kind of threw out there and we never talked about, and that change being made relatively quickly, or the client gave us a wrong phone number that we published 40 times on a website that we had to go back and clean up really quickly. They've really taken to heart, and that was probably one of the main, not concerns, but main thing I thought about up front is people have really high expectations, and meeting those expectations is critical in terms of keeping people satisfied. And the way I think about it is everyone makes mistakes in this world, and it's how you actually respond to those mistakes that matter. And so whether it's a mistake that the client made or the mistake that I made, at the end of the day, it's just how you take care of that mistake that really matters. And the team has been super responsive in just launching clients or actually responding to issues that we've had, whether, like I said, whether or not it's been the client's issue or not. But and then the last thing I'd say here is that's what I expect, but ultimately it's what my clients think about the marketing team, and so far I'd say all my clients are very happy with the work that we're doing for them, or that they're doing for them. I guess the marketing team is doing, and in some cases I have clients that are just absolutely delighted and tickled pink about the work, and that's really what matters at the end of the day, is what the clients think.
If you can think back to class and remember anything from then, what would you say would be the biggest takeaway that you got from class that still resonates with you today?
The one thing, and I think it was on a sign that sat in the room the entire meeting, and Joe, you talked about it during the session as well, and it's don't sit around and wait for the phone to ring. This is a business that will give back what you put into it. And so, you definitely, and I think Chris definitely talked about it as well, that things don't just happen. You've got to make them happen. And I think there's a quote somewhere, I don't remember who said it, so it's the only place that success comes before work is in the dictionary, and that's and I think that's the takeaway that I took from the class, which is you learned all about digital marketing and more importantly how to position it and how to put it in front of a client and identify the opportunities, but it's really at the end of the day, when you leave that training session, you got to roll up your sleeves and go to work.
All right, one more question. What do you hope to work on, either if it's something individually or if it's something with the team, for the rest of 2019 in order to help grow or, I guess, scale your business even more?
I'd say I'm definitely starting to look at what I would want to do first and second when it comes to scaling the business. But I would say the one thing that I'm really starting to look at that I haven't taken advantage of is not a new service, it's a service that you all offered. But it's just early on I received advice from someone that said, focus on a few things and get really good at them. And so I focused predominantly, and Kristen can attest to this, on websites, search, and social media and blogging. I kind of position and package social media and blogging together. And that's really what I focused on. And I'd say 99% of my proposals had them in there, if not all of them, a collection of them. And what I've realized is the value of reputation and review management. And I think it's a huge opportunity that I've been missing. I have a couple clients that I plan to go back and sell into, and I want to make it a more conscious effort to put it into the offering up front. And the reason for that is the buying process has changed from when I was young. And everyone goes out and looks at a company's reviews and reads the reviews and kind of makes a decision whether or not they're going to pick up the phone and call or go to the store or the restaurant and visit. And so making sure that that's a component that I'm helping my clients with is something that I really want to kind of feather into my plans moving forward.
Well, Steve, we appreciate you taking this call and allowing us to ask a few questions to help our grads out and even our future grads, as we'll be sharing this with all of them. Are there any last words you'd like to leave them with?
The only thing that I would add to it is, and it's an old Simon Sinek, I think it's Sinek, I think that's how you pronounce it, video that talks about understanding your why and the importance of that. And I think that's been an important kind of part about my approach to my clients, which is selling my why first and not my what, and being really genuine about the why. So if there's folks out there that really aren't sure why they're doing this, I'd say that's an important first step. I mean, for me, it's genuinely helping others and really trying to help people realize their potential or businesses realize their potential, and that really matters to me. I love marketing, and I love helping small businesses succeed, and so I think every business owner is looking for someone to help them genuinely succeed, and so at the end of the day, effectively, I should have 100% close rate, right? If I'm doing something that they all want, then I really should. Every client I talk to, I should be able to do business with them, and that's not the case. I wish it was 100% close rate, but that's what I expect, and that's what I shoot for every time. And that's I think a big part of it too.
Well, we just really want to thank Steve for taking this call. I mean, we scheduled this less than 24 hours ago. He was nice enough to take the call, meet with us, answer some questions for you, the grads, and we do wish him continued success. We're very happy working with him, as we are with all of our grads. But when it comes down to one thing that still resonates to me, or for me, from what Steve said today, is one of those things that I do say in class, and it's on Monday, and I do say it all week long, but I do stress it strongly on the first day of class, which is a couple of things. First of all, what you put into this is what you're going to get out of it, and the second thing is, if you get home after training and you're just waiting for the phone to ring, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, and you're not giving yourself the opportunities that are out there. And even in class, just like Steve kind of explained to us, there's multiple different ways, from the leads that you receive to networking. Those were his top two, I believe, and they're both super, super important. And I can't stress that enough. We stress it a lot in class. We stress it through support after class. I think that it helped to hear from a grad today, from the grad himself, that networking is a huge deal. And you really have to work that network, and you really have to kind of, I kind of saw Steve going this way today during today's conversation, that you have to look a little bit inside, do some self-reflection, and answer that why. And once you do that, answer yourself another question too, which is, now that I know why, it's how. And sometimes that how it would include support or reaching out to myself or to Alex, and trying to come up with ideas as to, figure out where you are today, determine where you want to be tomorrow, so to speak, and then, figure out for yourself, and then get our input also on how am I going to get there. And together, we're going to go there. And we're always willing to help out, take your calls, take your emails, go the extra mile to really help you get to where you need to be. So I hope that one day I'll be able to call one of you and have a similar conversation that we can record and share with our grads from the past and for the future. So thanks for joining us today on this little video. And if you have any questions, of course, you can always reach out to me or definitely reach out to your support lead, whoever that may be. I hope everybody has a great day, and I hope this was very helpful for you. Take care, and we'll talk to you next time.